Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. And today I'll be reading a multi-character listener by me. So let's get into it. Yae Miko. She was quite unpredictable, and you knew that very well. Being with her was a little bit difficult if you had to adapt to all the teasing, but it was fun as well. She was someone that was refreshing and always knew how to keep you on your toes no matter what. And she was also very affectionate. With her, you always felt safe and knew that you were loved. You didn't have to try hard to get her attention. But sometimes, you wanted more attention than necessary, and you knew that you had your own ways to get it. And right now, after having a rather tiring day, all you wanted was to be in her arms. You were exhausted from everything you've done all day. Not to mention, it was quite a bad day for you. And all you wanted was to be in Miko's arms. When you walked home, you opened the door to find her just sitting on the couch, reading a book, and you could not help your eyes softening as you saw her. Your ears twitched in surprise when she saw you walk again, and then she smiled. "Welcome back, darling. You're home early." "That I am. It wasn't a good day, though. A lot of things happened," he said with a pout. And then she patted her lap, smiling softly at you. "Oh, is that so? Well, come on here. You can talk to me," she said, and you were never about to refuse an offer from Miko. In fact, all you wanted right now was to be by her side and get as much of her attention as possible. You knew that being with her could help you take any problem off of your mind. All you needed was her presence, and everything would be fine. So you settled against her as she ran her fingers through your hair, humming softly and continuing to read. For a while, silence permeated the room. But after you had a moment to breathe, you decided to speak again, wrapping your arms around her just a little bit tighter. "Miku, would you kiss me right now? I feel like it would cure me if you did." "Cure you? Oh, sweetheart, are you ill?" "No, you know what I mean. You're adorable, but yes, I would not be opposed to kissing you. In fact, it is something that I'm always excited to do," she said, cupping your face and looking into your eyes, like she was trying to carve out every detail into her mind. Like she wanted to treasure that look on your face forever, the blush on your cheeks, and the way you looked at her, like she was your entire world. And to be quite honest, that may as well be the truth. And then she leaned in, pressing her lips softly against yours, and you closed your eyes, sighing into it and losing yourself if only for a couple moments. Because right now, as you were enveloped in your arms, the two of you, with your lips pressed against each other, everything in the world was secondary. Because you had everything you needed right here. You were in her arms, and you were being loved, tenderly, sweetly, like you were everything that mattered. She always made you feel like you were wanted and cared for. Like it was all such an easy thing for her. Like she didn't have to try hard at all. It all came to her naturally. And eventually, as you settled against her, she just closed the book and wrapped you in her arms, carrying you. Sometimes, she looked quite delicate, and you forgot that she was one of the most powerful beings in Inazuma. And as she carried you, you blushed brightly, your arms wrapped around her neck. "Miku, did you really have to do this?" Oh, if I didn't do this for you, who else would I be doing it for? Besides, you look exhausted, sweetheart. Don't worry about it. You're spoiling me too much today. And that's what I should do. You deserve it. You've been working so hard, and I feel bad about it. Oh, you feel bad? Like you weren't the one to assign me all those errands. She couldn't help but laugh softly, nodding. That's exactly why I feel a little bit guilty. So at least let me clear my conscience now. Would you? Okay, I'll let you. But you're gonna have to hear me vent and rant for a little bit. I'm tired. That you are. And you can talk to me about anything you want. I'm always willing to lend an ear, she said, and you nodded. The two of you getting up. Well, it was mostly her doing all the work. And as she laid you down on the bed and propped the pillows so you'd be comfy, you couldn't help but smile at this treatment. She was pampering you because she felt bad for sending you to do a lot of work. And in the end, you would have done it, even without all the pampering, because it was her asking. You would always do anything she asked, because you loved her that much. And, you know, being pampered and treated like this, it was a bit of a bonus, an added one, not something that was required, but certainly something you would never object to. And then she sat close to you, wrapping her arms around you and pulling you into her side. As you talked about your day, your struggles, what exhausted you, and what bothered you most. And she listened patiently, taking it all in like a sponge. And you knew that you just had the best person you could ever wish for in the world. She was patient, loving, and today she was even kind enough not to tease you too much, which is all that you needed. You were in a bit of a tough spot, emotionally, and all you wanted was rest and affection from her. And right now, it seemed like Miko was more than willing to provide. Arlecchino. Arlecchino was very observant, and that was something everyone knew. You could never hide anything from her, be it your emotions, a secret, an injury, whatever it was you were trying to hide was never going to be hidden. Not with the way she knew everything, like she had eyes on her back. It didn't matter, because what you were trying to hide was not really significant. You were just in a bad mood that day, and did not want to burden her more than necessary. You just thought if you went to your room and sulked for a while, and eventually those feelings died down, you'd be fine. But she noticed, and at first she let you be. She was finishing paperwork after all, and she would not be very useful to you if she had other matters to finish. Instead, you were alone in the room for an hour, thinking about everything that you did wrong that day, and the day before, and the day before that, because your mind was never going to let you just live in peace. But Arlecchino was not going to stand for that. She was not going to let you ruminate and stay and sulk and be sad all alone. If you were going to be sad, then at least you were going to be sad in her arms. That was a little bit more acceptable. Being sad was a natural thing, and emotions must run through their course, even though, to her, she believed they were a hindrance, a weakness in her profession, and weaknesses must be eliminated. But you were not a member of the Fatui. You did not have to guard your emotions as she has. So, right now, when she went to your room and saw you curled up on the bed, she couldn't help but soften. as she walked over to you, taking off her coat and sitting down beside you. You didn't even come and say hello. Is it really that bad? What is? I am perfectly fine. I just saw that you were busy, so I didn't want to bother you. And you would have never bothered me. You know that. So what is it? Do you want to talk about it? She asked, her eyes looking into your own. And you could see that she was imploring you to be honest. She did not want you to lie to her, even if your only goal was to make sure that she would be happy and not bother her at all. She understood that you did not want to burden her. You did not want her to be sad just for your sadness. You did not want to affect her negatively just because you were upset. But here she was, always going out of her way to make sure you'd be alright. And that was something you would always admire about her no matter what. She caressed your cheek gently as you stayed quiet, and you couldn't help but sigh softly, leaning into her hand. You see, Arlecchino, I had a fight with my boss. That's why I'm like this. I'm just feeling upset. I didn't want things to go so wrong. And it wasn't my fault. The client was being weird, so obviously I had to speak up. But when I did, my boss got mad at me. And I didn't know what to do. He got mad at you? Really now? Yes, unfortunately. I don't know what I'm going to do at my job. What if they fire me? And what does his name happen to be? Oh, his name? Why would you need that? Come on now, dear. You should know by now you shouldn't ask me questions that you would not want to know the answers to. Just tell me his name. And so you tell her, and you watch a satisfied smile on her face, and you could only wonder what she's planning to do. Not like you had any choice. She would know either way, and she would do whatever she wanted. You knew there were certain matters you could not keep away from Arlecchino, and she would always make sure you were protected, and that nobody would infringe upon your rights. Don't worry yourself about it. Everything will be fine, and your boss will not bother you any longer. Really? Are you sure? I mean, you really don't have to go so far to make sure of it. I'm sure things will be fine in the end. I don't mind having another job. You don't have to do anything, Arlecchino. I'm telling you, don't worry about it. That's all you need to know. As for what I'll be doing, that's for me to worry about. And you're convinced by her answer. After all, she's right. It's her stuff to worry about, and you cannot blame her for deciding that. Well, it was kind of your business as well, but whatever she decided to do was not. Especially since you've decided not to be involved whenever Arlecchino decides that it was time for some Arlecchino-style justice. So you couldn't say anything at all. Now, all you could do was stare at her in pure admiration, because she was always willing to do anything for you, just to make sure you'd be fine. And so you got a closer to her, and eventually she pulled you into her lap, pressing soft kisses to your face. It was not often that she was so affectionate, but for you, she tried. She would try just about anything to bring the smile to your face. And you were not only smiling now, but laughing softly as you buried your face into her neck, shaking your head. Arlecchino, stop it. Oh, are you sure? You don't want any more? No, I do want more, but go a little bit easy on me. he whispered, and she chuckles, kissing the top of your head. That I can do. Just stay still and let me spoil you today, she says, and it's an easy request for you. It's all you'd want to do, to stay beside her and feel the weight of her love and affection, the warmth of her care and her lips against yours, and the way she held you so firmly, grounding you and keeping your mind from wandering away, so you could focus on this beautiful moment that you were having and think of nothing else.